Here's our bingo board for the day. Remember, if and when you get a bingo, which is 5 across, diagonally, horizontally, vertically, you need to send a message to Grace specifically. Send a message to Grace if you get a bingo, and we will tell you then what you have won the right to do. So bingo winning, send to Grace. All other questions, please send to Christina. We start every single day right after our bingo with Bop It Ba. This is where the drum roll starts. Drum roll. A really bad drum roll. Dino of the day. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is your dino of the day. This is Troodon. Troodon. Troodon, your dino of the day. Here's another image of our friend Troodon in the snow. I like this one a lot. For a little bit of size, this is about how big a Troodon is. So a little bit bigger than a Velociraptor, smaller than like a Deinonychus. Here's your Troodon. This is your dino of the day. I'm incredibly excited to see these paleo art gallery towards the end. But first, we should probably introduce our very special guest for the day. My friend.
That's me.
That is you. My friend, a TV producer, a psychology and brain expert, the host of BrainCraft on YouTube, and most importantly, Australia's third most famous science communicator of all time, Vanessa Hill.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank
right?
you. It's a pleasure to be here in Dino 101. Thank you for having me today.
Of course. Where are you zooming in from? Can you let the squad know?
Yeah, I'm zooming in from New York, the center of it all.
Quite literally, with respect to this pandemic.
Yes.
You're holding up okay in your apartment in New York.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I mean, there is a little bit of the old cabin fever that kicks in from time to time, I will say. I have a 1-bedroom apartment, so not a lot of space. And I do share it with 2 other creatures, 1 human, 1 canine. So, you know, there's a lot of us crammed in here.
We might maybe get to meet one of those at some point, either the human
if you're
or the
lucky.
canine?
If you're lucky, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're lucky, Vanessa, you are going to be able to pass the greatest test you've probably ever taken, which is, of course, dino or not a dino. Vanessa, this is everyone's favorite game. The rules are very simple. I'm going to read you a list of 10 different animals. Some of which...
I see pictures, or is it just the name?
It is just the name.
Okay.
Some of which are real, actual dinosaurs. Some we have totally made up.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Your job
is just the name, but he can spell them if you want to have them spelled.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna just get a handy Post-it note and
might be
a pen, and I might write them down.
Yes, good idea.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm ready. Let's dive in.
So again, you can totally ask for a spelling if you need it. You can also look around the room, because I know a lot of our intrepid dinosaur scientists will give you thumbs up or thumbs down with a little bit of help. So here we go. Dino, not a dino. You have to only get 6 out of 10. Very low bar. D- is passing. I should also mention there is a theme for the not dinos. So if you can figure that out, it might help you discern dino from not a dino. Without further ado, here we go. Vanessa Hill, dino or not a dino. Animal number 1, Talos. Talos.
I'm going to say not a dino.
You're going not a dino.
I'm going thumbs down, not a dino.
Not a dino. Talos. I'm sorry, that is a dinosaur. Rough start, 0 for 1. That's okay. Don't worry, you got plenty of time to catch up. Next, Cassowarius.
That is not a dinosaur, because I believe that's a cassowary, which is a flightless bird. Well, I mean, what's your definition of a dinosaur in this game?
My definition of a dinosaur is if it is within the group of dinosaurs, but the name, you're right, cassowary is a bird, which is a dinosaur, but I didn't say cassowary, I said Cassowarius.
Is that a Latin name or a common name?
That is a name I made up. You were right, that's not a dinosaur. We're just
Thank you. Okay,
you're thinking harder about this than any of us ever have.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I like that you're really breaking it down. So that you're 1 for 1. Next, Almas. A-L-M-A-S. Almas.
A-L-M-A-S. Not a dinosaur. Thumbs down.
Not a dinosaur. Wow, Vanessa, that actually is a dinosaur. Almas is a dinosaur. It's okay. You have plenty of time. A lot of our best guests have started slowly, then really picked up the slack as they went on.
Thank you.
Number 4, Kangarops.
Not a dinosaur.
You're going not a dinosaur. That is correct. Kangarops is not a dinosaur. You're back to 50-50. Next,
Great.
Magpamimus.
Not a dinosaur. That sounds so made up.
Wow.
It sounds
no
like a
hesitation.
magpie.
No hesitation.
So made up.
Magpamimus. Okay. All right. You're going no?
No.
You're correct. All right. Back in the green. 3 and 2.
Great.
Magpamimus is
Great.
not a
3 to
dinosaur.
2. Okay. And we've done 5. So we're halfway.
We're halfway.
Excellent.
Sinornithoides. Sinornithoides.
Can you please spell that one?
Absolutely. Sinornithoides.
I'm gonna break my streak. So my strategy was just to say no to everything, and then maybe I would get 5 out of 10. But
Okay.
I'm gonna break my streak for the Sonornithoides.
Sinornithoides.
Great. I'm gonna break my streak and say yes.
Yes,
That is a dinosaur.
you are correct. That is a dinosaur.
Wow, excellent.
4 and 2.
I'm
Sinornithoides.
pulling ahead.
You are pulling ahead. Do you have any idea of the theme yet of your not dinos?
I think they're all Australian animals because we've got the magpie, we've got the cassowary, we've got the kangaroo. Like you've taken the first syllable of an Australian animal and you've added some junk.
See,
to
this is why we don't have people that can break down psychology on the show, because we'll just leave it there. We're gonna
It's
keep
pretty
going.
obvious.
Maybe there's more. You'll get more hints here. We can see if that actually is the theme.
Yeah, just keep moving along. We don't know. You don't know
Okay.
yet. Yeah.
Ginfangopteryx. Ginfangopteryx.
Yes, dino.
Yes, that is a dinosaur. I couldn't make up a name like that if I tried. You're now 5 and 2. Next, Wombaceratops.
Not a dinosaur. But imagine if that was, how cool it would look.
That would be very cool. Wombaceratops is not a dinosaur. You are now 6 and 2. You're guaranteed you're going to win. But there are 2 more.
You.
Tochisaurus.
Oh, that's a fun one. That's a punchy name. Yeah, yes.
T-O-C-H-I.
Dinosaur.
What? Who? Yeah?
Yes,
Yes?
that's a yes.
All right. You started strangely, but have done really well thus far. Tochisaurus is a dinosaur. You have now gotten 7 right, 2 wrong. Last but not least, this is a tough one. Droperodon.
Oh, that's a strong no.
A strong no.
Yeah, yeah. It's clear to me now how I was overthinking it at the beginning. Sometimes hindsight is all you need.
So, Vanessa, for those of us who aren't from Australia, who have not been, can you explain to the group what a drop bear is? Because I only learned what this was recently.
Sure. A drop bear is something like Santa Claus being known to wear a red coat, in that it was a successful advertising campaign that influenced popular culture in a way, and it has now become a mythical Australian animal. And it looks like a polar bear, which is the mascot of a drinks company in Australia. And what it's meant to do is sit up in trees and drop down on you when you're just walking underneath.
Yeah, this is when I first went to Australia. This is one of the first things people warned me about, to just always be vigilant for drop bears.
It's a bit of a joke that people play on tourists as well.
Nice. Vanessa, you won. You win all of our praise and admiration, and you
look
get
at all these claps. Thank you.
You also, congratulations, you've won the right to stay on the Zoom. If you lose, we just
I would have had to go. Yeah. Okay, great.
All right, you ready to talk about dinos and intelligence and brains and all that good stuff?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We're going to jump right into it. So you guys, again, today, our dinosaur of the day is Troodon. We're going to come back to that in a second. But today, what we're mostly talking about are brains. So Vanessa is a psychology and brain expert, not necessarily with respect to dinosaurs, but there's a lot we can learn from our own brain, our brain size, and that of current living extant animals that we can use to think about what dinosaurs, how smart dinosaurs or specific dinosaurs may have been. So one way, and there are a number of ways to try to define how intelligent an animal is, right? And I should also mention it's really hard because that's all relative. When we say someone's intelligent, in what way are we talking, right? How do you test a human's intelligence, and how do you test an animal that you can't do the same type of test? How do you do the same type of measurements? Is intelligence the same in one environment versus another? It's hard to say. And so there are lots of different tests for intelligence. And one of the ones that we talk about a lot, at least in anthropology, which is the study of like humans, is something called EQ, which stands for encephalization quotient. In the middle of that word is CEPH, Ceph, which means head. You may remember like Pachycephalosaurus with that big giant dome head. So EQ, or encephalization quotient, is one measurement, one way we can glean clues about the intelligence of an animal, whether it was alive, whether it's alive today, or it was dead. And basically what EQ means is what size brain does an animal have? What size does it have with respect to how big its body is? So if an animal has a specific type body and it has a brain that is an average size for that body, that animal would have an EQ of 1. So exactly average size brain for how big its body is.
Is there any animal that has a brain that's the same size as its body, which would mean that it's all brain? All brain, no body.
No, oh, then you can't even do a EQ then, because there's no second number to compare it to. It's just brain.
What would that look like for something like an octopus?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I don't know. In fact, most EQ measurements it's mostly on mammals. They do some reptiles and amphibians, but it's mostly mammals.
Cool.
So I actually gave you guys, I'm gonna show you a few examples so you can see what we're talking about here. So these are humans, if you didn't notice that already. This is me and Vanessa. I'm actually holding an endocast of a T-Rex brain. We'll come back to that in a second. But humans, we have giant brains for our body size. So our EQ is about 7.5, which means our brains are 7.5 times bigger than you would expect them to be for an animal of our body size. That's a pretty good indication that we're a very smart species, right? Smart enough to contemplate our own death, which apparently it looks like what Vanessa and I are doing in this image right here. So
That's
humans,
true, yeah.
right? Humans are very, very smart, 7.5. Some other animals, dolphins are around 5. So they have their brain is 5 times bigger than we would imagine for their body size. And then we actually have some other primates that people don't recognize as being as smart as maybe we think they are, such as our friend right here, the Capuchin monkey. So Capuchins have a 4.8 EQ, which is pretty high, right? Almost 5 times, almost as smart as a dolphin. Other primates, this is a squirrel monkey. This dude is just cute as all be. 2.8. So 2.8 times bigger brain size than we'd imagine for its body. Chimps are about 2.5, which is similar. Yeah, he's holding what should be a brain, which is actually similar to the smartest extant living dinosaur, the raven. So ravens also, based on EQ, one measurement of intelligence, have about the same amount of intelligence you would imagine as a chimp. Now, a great example of an animal with body size to brain size about what you would imagine or expect for an average, are our pets, our cats and dogs. So this is Luna on the right, and my friend Maya on the left. Vanessa, you're laughing. Can you tell who is this on the right? Do you have a live?
It's my dog Luna. Yeah, I don't know where she's gone. Luna, where did you go? Luna. Luna.
You know, if she had a higher EQ than 1, maybe she would come when she was called.
She's gone forever. I don't know where she is.
So maybe she'll come back in a second. But obviously, and I should also mention there are animals with smaller than 1. It's like a mouse. Mouse's brain is actually half as big as we would expect it to be for its body size. But now, Vanessa, I just named a bunch of living animals. We easily, well, maybe not easily, but we have access to their brains. We can measure them.
Sure.
How could we possibly start to figure out the EQ or the intelligence level of animals that aren't alive anymore that we don't have their brains to look at?
This is an excellent question, Dustin, because it's something that I know the answer to.
Nice.
Yeah. So we can make something that's called an endocast, which is a cool word, and it's basically like a reverse fossil, I suppose, but it's where you actually fill in the brain cavity in an empty skull with plaster. And then you take it out to see like roughly what size it would be. You can do them digitally, which are a bit more accurate. So you can see on the slides here there's a T-Rex brain with a digital endocast. And you can see what blows my mind is how small that brain is relative to the size of the skull. Like you could imagine most of your skull, your human skull, is made up with brains and other fluids that kind of make your brain sit really nicely in your skull, but dinosaur brains are quite small compared to the size of the skull, which is true for birds as well.
True. I mean, if you look at this image of you and I, you're in front of, or a human brain is in front of you. I'm holding a Play-Doh endocast of a T-Rex brain.
That we made.
Yeah, they're about the same size, right? And you're right, T-Rex is obviously a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So, and you can do this at home. So you mentioned you can take a digital endocast where you literally put a skull, like a T-Rex skull, through a CT scanner and figure out what that space is on the inside. Or you can fill that inside with some sort of, and by inside, I mean the space inside the skull where the brain was, the empty cavity. You can fill it with Play-Doh or some rubbery substance and then take it out and see the exact shape. And the cool thing about that is not only then do you see the size and the shape, you can see which areas are larger than others. So here in this T-Rex brain case endocast, up on the left side, the kind of rounded end, those two things on the end, those round bulbs, those are the olfactory bulbs. And so we know for T-Rex, it had larger than average olfactory area in the brain, which is a great indication that it had really good sense of smell. Now, Vanessa already mentioned that these guys are, their brain isn't so big for the body size, but it's actually slightly bigger than we would imagine. So a T-Rex EQ is actually slightly more than 1. So it's only about 1.
That's a beautiful picture.
Isn't it though? This is from the American Museum of Natural History.
It's beautiful. Those feathers going along, it's like a racing stripe of feathers.
Right? I like the feathers at the end of the tail too.
Yeah. I don't know about those arms. But they don't even have a forearm, just go a hand coming off the body.
We've talked a lot about the arms here.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
We haven't talked a lot about dinosaur sounds. We're not really sure what they sound like. Some of them may have sounded like "Paka, paka." We don't know. Oh, and speaking of, wait, what does that sound mean, Christina?
Did I just hear the dulcet tones of the speculative dino call? Oh my gosh, everyone, you know what time it is. It's time for everybody's new favorite game. It's called game. It's true, and you get to play it today, Vanessa. It's called Die for Love, because we have a 6-sided die on the app that I have.
Your die app.
Yes, and I have a list of 6 things that you love that have been given to me by a secret informant named Dustin.
Wow.
So I'm gonna roll this die app. And whatever number it lands on, you have 60 seconds to tell us why you love that thing.
Wow.
No more than 60 seconds. You can take less if you want. Can you read us the options, Christina? What are our 6 options for today?
I will. Number 1 is Jeopardy. 2 is the Brontosaurus. 3 is Luna, your doodle. 4 is Dustin's car.
Love is maybe a little strong, but
it's not called Die for Feel Okay About. We're doing Die for Love.
Die for Love for a reason.
5 is something I'm told you really, really love: American college football.
Yeah, cool.
And 6, along with our Not a Dinos today, Australian wildlife.
Okay, great. I can't guarantee there'll be intelligent responses to any of these options, but I can definitely just speak when invited to. So I'll give you some of those words you're looking for.
That's exactly what we're looking for, and we'll do a couple of these.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Ready? Okay, we're gonna count to 3, and then everyone, even though you're on mute, I hope you're doing this with me in your home. It's very strange to do something interactive when everybody is on purpose inaudible, but we're gonna try it. On 3, we'll sing the song Die for Love. That's the whole thing. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Die for love.
All right, you got a 3. That's Luna. Tell us about your doodle.
Oh, Luna, come here. Come on. She's coming. So Luna Luna, come on, she's going to take 55 seconds to get here, and then I won't have any time. So this is Luna here. Luna, sit for everyone. Luna is my Labradoodle, who is almost 9 years old. It's her birthday on the 30th of May. She just is a delightful specimen. She's very gentle, very friendly. She makes a variety of mouth noises, which are quite comical. She's been a great companion. I actually got Luna when I lived in Australia. And then we moved overseas together, which was fun. And she's adorable and has a big personality. And yeah, she's really cute. I love her. Probably the most out of everything you have on this list.
Great start.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's roll again, Christina.
Let's do it again. Okay, everybody. On 3, give me the words that we all know and love. 1, 2, 3.
Die,
4, love. All right, you got a 4. Tell us why you love Dustin's car.
Yeah, why do you love my Prius, Vanessa?
Yeah, so Dustin's Prius is a vehicle that is able of movement. And it can move myself and occasionally Luna and Dustin and our other friends and family all around New York City, which is actually quite a difficult city to get around in. You're probably aware of the subway, which only goes to certain places. So whenever you need to go to a place that isn't on the subway line and take a dog, it's very useful. Dustin, when he's in New York, and we live quite close to each other. I enjoy driving. I just like driving. I did it a lot when I was younger. And the Prius is a noble steed that gets us from A to B efficiently and in an eco-friendly manner.
I was just wanting you to say noble steed, and you did it, so it's all good. Also, shouts to Vanessa for giving me some very nice, I think it's bespoke, like special order white duct tape that helps bumpers that is falling off.
Dustin's bumper was falling off, and he had sticky tape, like Scotch tape, that was on his car, which the bumper kind of flapped in the breeze. And I dislike this for 2 reasons. One was an aesthetic reason, and the other was a safety reason. So I bought some white matte duct tape that was the same color and finish as his car, so we could nicely tape the bumper to the car. And I'm done.
It's still hanging on.
Great.
Perfect timing.
Christina, let's roll this again, shall we?
Yeah, I think we have time for 2 more.
Yes.
All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Die.
5, 4, love.
All right, you got a 6. Wax poetic on Australian wildlife.
I'm really excited to hear this, Vanessa, because one of the coolest things for me when I visited Australia was just the wildlife that's ever walking around, and it's mind-blowing. So as a native Australian, what are some of your favorite pieces of Australian wildlife?
Dustin, you've only got 50 seconds left.
I'll start it now.
Okay, go.
So I love Australian wildlife for a number of reasons. One is because for me, it's familiar and nostalgic, which is certainly a reason to like things. The second reason is because it's very unique, and I think kind of speaks to some of the very mind-blowing processes of evolution and like land mass development and different things that have happened in the world, that you can have an area of the world that has animals that look almost nothing like and behave nothing like animals anywhere else on earth. I've only got 24 seconds left, so I'll just finish by telling you about my favorite type of Australian wildlife, which is monotremes. So they are marsupials that lay eggs, including echidnas and platypi, however you want to say it. And a baby echidna's called a puggle. They're very cute. Comes out of an egg. Google that.
You're not going to say it, but I will. Echidnas have 4-headed penises. True story. The animal kingdom is wild. All right, let's roll one more time, Christina.
Google that. All right, last one, everybody. I see you punching the air in the grid view. It makes my day. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Die. 4.
Love.
You have rolled a 2. Time for the Brontosaurus.
Oh,
Why do you
yeah.
love Brontosaurus?
Yeah.
So really there are a couple of reasons why I love the Brontosaurus. The main one is just because of the size and the look, I want to say. I mean, I know that you shouldn't judge things by how they look, but just the clean lines on the Brontosaurus. It's like a delightful piece of architecture. You know, you see the line from the head down the back and to the end of the tail, and you're just like, look at that thing. That thing is beautiful. So just the fact that it can swim, it's really cool. Like if you've ever seen one in water, no one has, but if you can imagine it, it looks delightful. And just the fact that the Brontosaurus is a vegetarian and can just really get its neck up there in hard to reach places. I really like that about it. I have one on my shirt, which is a Renaissance sauropod.
There's also one behind you on the wall, is there not?
I have one in this painting here that glows in the dark. Yeah, they're just a very elegant dinosaur, which is why I like them.
Nice. That's actually a great transition for us. I'm glad that we got to talk about Brontosaurus because, Vanessa, I think we should start by going through some of the smartest and the dumbest dinosaurs of all time. And since you mentioned Brontosaurus, I hate to break it to you, but the sauropods, the long neck dinos, including Titanosaur, Brachiosaurus, Brontosaurus, the largest animals that have ever walked the face of the earth, were also some of the just flat out dumbest, right? So,
that's a shame.
Yeah. So this particular sauropod, I love this website name, dinosaurfact.net. I don't know, I find that very funny.
Do you own that URL?
What?
Do you own that URL, Dinosaur?
No, I own dinosaurfact.biz. I have
yeah. You're all about the biz.
So these guys, on average, had a brain size it's less than 0.1. So it's less than 10 times smaller than you'd imagine for an animal of its body size. So probably almost assuredly the dumbest group of dinosaurs that's out there. But that's okay. We're going to keep. Oh, by the way, this is also the group that involves that has Christina's favorite dino.
That's why I love them. They don't need to.
Lovable dummies. We'll go with that.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, they're endearing.
So they are endearing for sure. I mean, they're giant. They don't need much brain if they're just walking around without having to really evade predators, just munching whatever. You don't need a giant brain to do that. But as we get a little bit smaller, dinosaur brains get a little bit bigger. So Triceratops, which we are a friend right here, their brain is about 0.5 EQ, encephalization quotient, which means their brain is about half as big as you would imagine for an animal of its body size. We're going to keep moving on. Slightly bigger. So this is Iguanodon. So your ornithopods and your hadrosaurs, they had brains that were a little bit bigger than you'd imagine for their body size. 1.5 times bigger than you'd expect on average for an animal of that size. And then things get kind of crazy. And a lot of people don't know the smarts. I mean, we talk about a little bit in Jurassic Park about like the problem-solving capabilities of Velociraptor. Here's our friend Velociraptor with an EQ over 4. So Velociraptor is very smart. For their brain, remember, EQ is one way that we can kind of glean clues about intelligence. It doesn't tell us specifically that this thing is definitely 4 times smarter, but based simply on the size of its brain relative to its body size, Velociraptor's brain was more than 4 times bigger than what we think, or than it should have been, which makes for a pretty smart animal, but not as smart as our dino of the day. Here's our friend Troodon again. By all accounts, by far the smartest dinosaur, not just then, but have ever lived, with an EQ of about 5.5. So this thing is slightly smarter if we're looking simply at its brain size to body size ratio. This thing is slightly smarter than today's dolphins.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I have one thing to add about this as well. Which is, if you look back at the image, Dustin, did you stop sharing?
Which one do you want? Which image?
The Troodon, is that the dinosaur of the day?
Yep.
The head, no, go back to the last image you were on, where it's looking down. The head looks like an optical illusion. So it could be this way, looking down, or if you look at it again, it could be craning its neck around.
I'm not seeing.
So the eye is its left eye, and its right eye is just on the other side of its neck.
I can't. I guess this is like one of those magic eye things that I just can't figure out.
if you look at it, it could, like the eye that you see could either be the right eye or the left eye. Like its head could just be going down.
Oh, I see.
Or its head
Turn,
could be
it's almost
twisting
facing
around.
at you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It could be either way.
I like that you brought up its head though, because like the back of the head into the neck, it's much bigger and more bulbous than you would see for like a T-Rex or even a much flatter, slender head like this Velociraptor.
Which fits that brain case.
Exactly. The brain case is bigger. It's at higher IQ. It's at 5.5. Almost assuredly the smartest dinosaur we've ever known. And that is why a lot of people, when we talk about speculative dinosaur evolution, trigger warning for a lot of us in the audience here. You've seen this picture. I know you hate it. I'm sorry, but I love it. This is speculative evolution with respect to if dinosaurs did not go extinct, could Troodon have evolved into being something nearly as smart and maybe even looking like us? Here we go. Vanessa, how does this image make you feel?
Whoa. The human offends me more than the dinosaur.
That's not a human, Vanessa.
What
That's
is
what
it?
I think the Troodon may have evolved to be like, very human-like form and intelligence. No, we have a lot of people in the chat box really not enjoying this image at all.
You're really going to hate our Halloween party because this is what we're wearing.
Oh, yeah, Christine and I, this is us, Halloween.
Couple's costume.
Also, if you look closely down at the feet, it's this biped that looks kind of human-like, well, it's like an alien too, has those like three-toed theropod foot plan, which
do you know what's interesting is that biped, its feet are very similar to what the first socks looked like.
What the first socks look like?
If you just Google the first socks that were ever made, they only have two very large toes.
Okay.
So
can someone please Google?
Maybe the first socks were made for that biped.
Maybe. Oh wait, here we go. Jada, thank you. Yes. First sock. I did not think we'd hit this morning, but I love it. First socks ever made. It looks like it's like the base of a Sesame Street character, like those.
Exactly. Yeah, you can just go to the sock entry on Wikipedia and find those socks.
Well, maybe we'll do a whole dinosaur sock episode. No, we won't. That won't happen. Okay, so
some EQ questions before we.
Yes, that's where we're going next. Vanessa and I are going to combine our brains to answer the questions of your brains. What do we got, Christina?
Great. So Denise is asking about where the ratio came from. So the ratio of what you'd expect proportional head size to be to actual head size. Where did we get those numbers?
Where do we get those? Vanessa, do you know? You want me to answer?
You answer.
So if you take, again, it's mostly mammals. So I don't know exactly what group of animals or how many they use, but if you take a ton of different animals and then you look at all of their body sizes and all of their brain sizes, some will have brain sizes smaller than you'd expect for its body versus the average, which is like 1. So the average of all of those, the different animals and whatever those are in the sample size, I'm not sure. You take the average of all of those and whichever animals are right in the middle, that's a 1, right? So we'd expect that average to be a certain size for a certain brain or for a certain body. And then obviously there are animals that have bigger brains and there are animals that have smaller brains. But again, it is based on, I'm not sure how many animals or what specific ones are in that large sample size. But yeah, it's simply taking a bunch and making the average, and whatever the average in the middle is, that's 1.
And I will add to that and say, like, a lot of different theories or methods like this in science is not perfect. Right. And there are scientists who will say, hey, that's not perfect. And some other ways or some other things that people have proposed are just brain size, like overall brain size, or brain cell count. Like how many brain cells or neurons do you have in the front part of your brain? And perhaps that's a better predictor of intelligence than just EQ.
Vanessa, I'm really glad you brought that up because it reminded me, we totally glanced over this, which is right along those same lines. So here's that T-Rex brain endocast. See how it's like smooth versus in our brains, we have all those folds, right? And when you have all those folds in your brain simply has more surface area, which means more neurons, which probably means more intelligence. So again, EQ is just one gauge of intelligence. Another, we could simply look at the number of folds and the surface area of a brain to use that as a gauge. And clearly T-Rex and most dinosaurs had more smooth brains, less foldy, bumpy brains, which probably means.
So if you kind of took this brain, which is roughly the size of a human brain, and you could take it all apart and spread it out, it would be probably the size of like a dining table, I would say. Whereas that one isn't going to be, it's the same one as you have in your photo.
Yeah. So
Whereas
if you took that brain, you're saying, and spread it out.
Yes, whereas the T-Rex one is going to be the size of like maybe your computer screen, like a big computer screen. Yeah, so there's just it's not going to be basically much bigger than the surface that you can see there.
Yeah. So we're using
with
EQ
respect to the back of it as well.
So we're using EQ as one rough estimate of intelligence, but again, just like the number of folds and the surface area, there's other ways that we could make estimations about the intelligence. Cool. Christina, what else we got? More questions.
So with that, Megan asked, are there any animals that are inexplicably stupid compared to their EQ?
What do you think that means? Like animals that would have that just have a really low EQ? I would think that koalas would be one. They're, I think, the least intelligent mammal. And they actually have smooth brains.
Right, but I think the question was like, let's say a koala, let's just for purposes of this, let's say a koala's EQ is like 0.5, but I think they were saying like, oh, they're actually even dumber than that. Like if somebody's at EQ 3, we expect them to be this smart, but they actually aren't.
But then it's dumb.
Yeah, probably the Labradoodle might be based on my own experience.
I mean, I bet if you looked at different tests and different modes of testing intelligence or guesstimating intelligence, and for one animal, and maybe there are a bunch that like have an EQ that is relatively high, but then you look at all these other tests and you're like, wow, that is clearly why we don't just use EQ, because it's not accurate.
I will add to that, Dustin, and say that a lot of the intelligence tests that we give to other species are biased towards our own strengths and senses. So for example, a lot of the intelligence tests that we give to dogs are based on visual things and agility, but there are some sensory intelligence tests that they have developed for dogs, like smell tests, where we find out that if we actually adjust an intelligence test for a dog to be based on smell rather than sight, they do far better. So I think that for us as humans, it's just really hard for us to imagine what it's like to be an animal like the T-Rex, who has these huge olfactory bulbs and a really good sense of smell. And for animals that are living to develop tests that really take advantage of that.
I mean, all these, we are always so egocentric with the way we relate to other animals. I mean, and that's probably why this thing looks basically just like a human / dinosaur, or like any depiction of an alien is basically just like a tall, skinny, green person. Like it's very egocentric and very, I would say, unimaginative, right? That we think everything is just like us, or should be.
Yes. Aliens really would just be a blob. Like they wouldn't have arms or legs.
They could.
They would just be a blob.
Blobs. Speaking of blobs, Christina, what other questions do we have?
That's not a segue.
That's not a segue at all. It's really not.
Okay. I'm gonna just let that one go.
Well, your brain is a blob of gooey mass. It's incredible. It's the smartest thing evolution has ever produced, and we have some gooey brain masses in this audience. So give me their blob questions. That
Excellent walk back, Dustin. Whitney wants to know, do we find any dinosaurs with bigger brains having special behaviors which support that they were smarter than other species?
That's a great question. So
how would we even study that, Dustin?
How do we even study that? So I think you aren't looking just at brain size, right? You can look at brain size. You can look at the parts of the brain that may be enlarged for certain animals, so such as T-Rex. We can look at their brain. A, the size tells us one thing, and B, because it has a large olfactory bulb, that tells us a little bit about probably what its behavior was like and how it used its senses in the environment. Another way, for instance, with dromaeosaurs like Velociraptor and Troodon, because they had eyeballs closer, large eyeballs, and they were closer to the front for stereoscopic vision, they're probably very visually oriented, probably with really good vision, and that gives us clues about how they were behaving and acting in their environment. Whether they were hunting, whether they're simply looking for plant matter, whether they're active at night, during the day, during crepuscular dawn. So we use different things and different physical features along with not only the shape of the brain, but its size to try to make guesses, educated hypotheses about dinosaur behavior, but it's not perfect.
speaking of dinosaur behavior, could Troodons laugh? Dinosaurs are smart, and dolphins are smart, and we believe they can. That's from Arik.
Could they laugh? What do you think, Vanessa? Do you think dinosaurs, I mean, if dolphins laugh?
Dolphins have a very interesting vocal capacity where they can make a lot of different sounds. So I can imagine that they could laugh. I'm not sure what a dinosaur would sound like or what that voice box can really do. So I can't say for sure.
Also, I even think the term laugh is a very like human-centric term. Yeah, think of like how we're laughing and what we're reacting to. Like dolphins, you're right, they might make a sound that sounds similar to laughing, but I don't know that we could really define it as laughing the way we understand laughing.
Yeah, and I think, say, if my dog would laugh, she would probably wag her tail. Like that would be her behavior in response to what we would consider laughter to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool,
yeah, Charles had a similar message to what you just said. So maybe they couldn't laugh, but they could probably feel joy or whatever emotion would cause one to laugh.
Or be amused by the behavior of one of the other dinosaurs. Yeah.
Can we do one more question and then we should get into our drawings? Oh, Grace says, let's go to Grace for a second.
Yeah, let's pass it to Grace.
So I've got a great question from Catherine, who lives in Australia, Vanessa.
Oh, thanks for joining, Catherine.
Connection. She wants to know, are there differences in individuals part of these species? We're talking like the generalization right now, but were there differences in the individuals where they rank in their group, what their motivations are, environmental factors, outside these like general sort of approximate numbers we're assigning them?
Yeah, definitely. And we see that in every species, that there's individual difference across the species. Like we know that in humans, right? We can see that different humans have strengths and weaknesses and perform better and worse on all different kinds of tests relative to each other. The thing that I don't know is how we would determine that for dinosaurs, because we only have a limited number of fossils and things like that. And we can't do behavioral tests on them. So I'll throw it to Dustin to see if he has an answer to that question.
No, you covered it.
Great.
And then about Troodons, do we know or think if they were nocturnal?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I would imagine, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. That's a really good question. I've not done enough Troodon research. I haven't read anything about when they were active. Again,
how would we know if a dinosaur was nocturnal? Like, what would you look for in the fossil record that would tell you that?
The easiest or best way to glean clues about that is based on their eye size. And so we can determine not only eye size, but eye placement. So a lot of animals, certain dinosaurs have much larger eyes, which tells us, oh, they may have been operating at dawn and dusk when the light was low. But that's
or maybe their ear size and nose size. Like, would they be using their other senses?
Right. I mean, you can glean that from the shape of an endocast, but ears, as we think about them, are soft parts. So they're not fossilized.
So we're not really sure. Yeah. You really enjoy the word glean today.
I have been saying glean a lot today. I get a word in my head and I just use it a bunch.
Yeah.
That's how we go. All right. We're coming up on 12:50. These are some really great questions. Let's go back and check out our drawings because Vanessa, like I said, we have some tremendous paleo artists here.
I'm really excited to see these.
While we go through this, I got a couple more science questions.
Sure.
Okay.
Please hold up your drawings as we start going through here. I'm excited to see these versions of the 77-million-year-old Troodon. Its name means wounding tooth. It was found.
Oh, that's a great name.
Wounding tooth. Although to be fair, they had serrations on their teeth, similar to the ones we've talked about in T-Rex, but the type of serrations are actually similar to certain herbivores and omnivores in the reptile fossil record. And so it's a good indication these guys were probably omnivores, not just eating plants, not just hunting. All right, let's see.
At the beginning of this hour, Dustin, you asked me what my middle name was, and I was like, I'll tell you. It's actually Wounding Tooth.
It's Wounding Tooth, Vanessa Wounding Tooth Hill. I like that. Yeah. All right, M's got a couple beautiful Troodons here. Let's go to Jada.
Yeah, that's nice.
Jada Truly Troodon with a chapstick for scale. That's right.
That's a really nice mouthpiece we have. I like the color there.
Truman.
Truman.
Nice. Oh boy, Richard. Richard came correct. Look at this.
Wow.
I'm your future. True Barrymore. Yeah, True Barrymore.
That's
good.
excellent. That is such a good
good.
drawing.
That is so good. Look at this one.
Trudy.
Margot
I like
crushing it.
that. Is that in Procreate or something?
Yeah, nice.
It's beautiful.
Catherine, straight from Melbourne.
Oh, I love the sign.
Yeah, the sign is good with the kangaroo.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is that a kangarops?
Kangarops. Kangarops. Thank you. We got a Smarty Pants here from Eric. That's pretty good.
That is good. I like the feathers on the arms. Nice.
Let's check out Adela's here. Ooh, Alice and May.
Wow.
They're playing and fighting. I'm into that. Provintoraptor
That's
has
really
always
cool.
got a beautiful one. Dustin. Okay, one's named Dustin. One is Brady.
Yeah, nice. Well, that's
wow.
me.
Vanessa, get ready for this. An entire gallery.
Whoa. I like the one on my left, like with the kind of crosses in the background and the green. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
it's very stylish.
Oh,
yeah.
now we're coming to the more minimalist black and white renderings in the gallery here. We have Willow.
Oh, wow.
Staying warm in the snow. A little bit of a thicker one there. How about Bryn's here? Titus.
Yeah, that's a nice pen that's being used for that.
How about this one? Boom.
Tony.
Tony is like a professional artist. I can't with Tony. It's just so good every time.
I thought Tony was the name of the dinosaur.
Troodon Tony. Do we have any more? Lenosaurus
That's
Rex.
Inez. Inez made an amazing dino name, Tony.
Boo. Yeah. I note the socks here.
Yeah, I like the socks.
Nice touch.
Quick shout out to my mom. Hey, Mom. Hey, thank you for texting me that in 8th century BC, the ancient Greeks wore socks called pilloi, which were made from matted animal hair. That's all. Thanks, Mom. All right, Judith. Let's see, Judith here. Ooh, purple. I like the purple.
Oh, nice.
Grace's dad is a big fan of purple. Probably a big fan of that one. Yasmin, we got a couple here. These are beautiful.
Tom, I like Tom.
Right.
That's really good. These are, very high caliber.
Well, we have to spotlight Ashley's here because if I'm not mistaken, Ashley, it's your birthday. Is it not your birthday?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
She's frozen for her birthday.
Wow. But those balloons and the party hat, that is truly incredible.
It's really good.
This was the Ashley I was thinking of. Ashley, who always has the great colorful drawings. Happy birthday, Frozen Ashley.
Yeah.
That's good. I like the green. Ooh,
I like there's some kind of fossils or food on the bottom. That's nice.
How about Natty here? Natty's got a person for scale named Rob.
Rob.
Natty always puts a person for scale. Without someone for scale, it's just bad science. All right. That was a great paleo art gallery. Vanessa, before we end this whole thing, where can people find your work? Also, are you allowed to talk about what you're working on right now or no?
I can talk about it vaguely. So the best place that everyone can find my work is on YouTube. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/BrainCraft, like arts.
Drop that in the chat box.
Yeah, I'll put it in,
drop it in there. That's the best place you can find it. I have a lot of videos on YouTube. I have for some of the junior paleontologists in the chat here, I have some brain teasers and optical illusions and all kinds of things from a few years ago. You could just kind of search BrainCraft optical illusions or something, and you'll find a lot of things, some riddles as well that I did a few years ago. What was that?
I don't know.
There was a comment and then it went away. So I have a lot of videos on YouTube. I have a new show that I have been working on very hard over the past year that is coming out, I believe, on May 20. It's not confirmed, so it's a unconfirmed date, but probably. That is going to be really, really cool. It's a reality show that's about science. And you will be able to follow that and updates and everything all on my YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe. You can turn on that little bell, ring the bell, and then you'll get a little notification when you log into YouTube that I have new messages, new videos, all that kind of stuff. I'd appreciate it.
I'm very excited about this new project. I've heard bits and pieces. I know you've been working on it for a while. It's a big deal. So I can't wait to watch towards about a month from now, right? End of May?
About a month from now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Dustin.
Of course. Thank you. And thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to support this crazy endeavor that we do literally every day at noon, you can shoot us some donations. I'm Dustin-Growick on Venmo. Can someone put that in the chat box? That would be appreciated. Tomorrow, I don't think anyone, I like that it's a surprise. No one ever knows what we're going to talk about the next day. You guys, tomorrow, we are going to discuss not only apex predators, we're going to talk about hunting strategies. We're going to talk about claws and teeth. And actually, I'm going to throw this out to you guys. Do you guys know what the apex land predator is on 6 of the 7 continents today? What group of animals? Does anyone know?
Oh,
Viruses.
Other than viruses as the
birds
apex
of prey.
We've got someone guessing like big cats.
People are
What?
going
Oh, I know.
humans.
What
It's
is it?
Whales.
Okay.
On land?
On
Birds.
land.
We've got
Oh,
Land.
that was a detail that I missed.
Christina, what do you think? What's the big apex predator on 6 of the 7 continents? What group
Is
of
it-
animals?
Birds of prey, modern dinos.
They're big.
I was just hoping there was a theme.
Michael got it. It's cats, you guys.
Bears.
Cats are the apex predators on every continent except for Antarctica. Obviously evidenced by this one who is not showing up at there. Oh, there it is. Get close. You're weird.
So strange.
Three human screen. So tomorrow with literal big cat scientist who studies snow leopards in the Asian low
weirdest.
mountains. Her name is Imogen Cancelari is going to join us to talk all about snow leopards, giant predators, what it's like to be an apex predator, and what hunting strategies cats employ that maybe some extinct dinosaurs employed. I'm very excited about that. That is tomorrow at noon. But for now, I don't care if you're delving into the intelligence of your own brain or scooping the last of that Play-Doh to make an endocast of a T-Rex. Never stop digging. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much to Vanessa. Thank you to my co-hosts, Christina and to Grace. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Never stop loving dinosaurs. Peace out. I'm going to go clone more of myself.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Guys, thanks, Vanessa.